Welcome into the Ravens Rundown, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Appreciate you joining us. On today's show, we have the latest Baltimore Ravens training camp takeaways. We're about a week and a half into training camp, and I have four different things I want to go over of what stands out to me throughout training camp so far that we'll get to on today's show. So let's go ahead and get started without further ado. Number one, Lamar Jackson continues to look sharp. He has been so impressive throughout the last several days of training camp so far at this point. We know that he wants that contract extension, and so far he's proving that he's certainly worth that if he hasn't proven that already. Here are some of the takeaways of what we've seen, the improvements of Lamar Jackson throughout camp so far, throughout various reports from different outlets over these last several days. Lamar Jackson, we've seen more back shoulder fades, more deep shots, more blitz beaters, more red zone scores. He's also participated in all 10 practices, and his completion percentage is about 70% with only 2 interceptions total in those 10 practices. Now, we won't see Lamar in the preseason opener. He'll sit out along with tight end Mark Andrews, cornerback Marlon Humphrey, outside linebacker Justin Houston, and safety Marcus Williams. But there's nothing for Lamar to prove at this point. He's doing everything that's asked of him and then some. So really exciting to see this version of Lamar Jackson so far through training camp at this point in time. So, Ravens flock, got to hear from you guys. Are you liking what you're seeing from Lamar Jackson? Do you think this is going to lead to him having a big year in 2022? If so, type 8 in the comments section. Show some love to Lamar Jackson. Our pinned comment today, if you think he'll have a big year in 2022, go ahead and just simply type 8. You're about to get an ad break. Take advantage of it while the ad's playing. Type 8 in the comments section and let me know. Next up, let's talk stocks now. What's the saying? Stocks only go up? Okay, maybe not. But for a few guys, the stocks are looking pretty good. Running back Justice Hill, safety Tony Jefferson, and outside linebacker Odafe Oweh have stood out so far to this point and helped their cause right now. Let's get you some updates from The Athletic looking at each player individually. Let's start with Justice Hill here. And he's competing for that very prestigious running back room. A lot of good backs, not enough spots for everybody, obviously. Here is what The Athletic had to say on Hill. Has not been difficult to recognize how hard Hill has been running and how active he's been as a receiver out of the backfield. He's been a safety valve for Lamar Jackson and Tyler Huntley. Hill is showing no effects of the torn Achilles he suffered about 11 months ago, costing him the entire 2021 season. So that's very good there to see that he is an asset of sorts. Let's get to the update on Tony Jefferson. Jefferson competes in every practice. He's always one of the first guys to the ball and plays with an unfiltered joy. The Ravens are loaded at safety, but Jefferson has shown early in camp what he still brings to the table. So, very good on that front for Tony Jefferson. That room is crowded, that safety spot, but it looks like things are going well for Tony Jefferson, it would appear. One more for you. Here is the latest on outside linebacker Odafe Oweh. At least once a practice, the 2021 first-round pick has left an offensive tackle in his wake and earned a free run at the quarterback. He's looked extremely explosive off the edge and shown a nice array of pass-rushing moves. He appears to be playing with more confidence than he had at this time last year, and he's continually trying to learn more. And we know that that resulted in a very good rookie season for Odafe Oweh last year. So if he's already stepping up and showing more confidence and playing better at this point last year to what he did in 2021 at this point, watch out. The sky's the limit for Odafe Oweh. I'm excited to see what he can bring to the table in 2022 when we hear these type of things about Odafe Oweh. So, of the stock that goes up, I'm very intrigued with the Justice Hill one. Is he going to make the 53-man roster when it's all said and done? Look, the Ravens have good backs, and I know that you have Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins coming off injury. Tyler Beatty, the rookie running back from Mizzou, has looked pretty good. All signs point to him being a really good back in the future from what he's done so far at this point. And then, of course, there's Mike Davis, who the Ravens signed from the Atlanta Falcons, who Harbaugh and company is high on. Is there a spot for Justice Hill on that final 53-man roster? Let me know in the comments section if you think he'll make it. If so, type Y for yes. If not, type in for no. Let me know in the comments section. Will Justice Hill make the final 53-man roster? Y for yes, in for no. Now, the Baltimore Ravens have some of the best uniforms in the entire National Football League. Everything from the purple to the black to the gold. And we got all your guys available. Whether you want to wear Mark Andrews or Odafe Oweh or Lamar Jackson, or even if you want to throw it back to Ray Lewis, good news for you. We offer all of those guys in their uniforms in various different colors at chatsports.com/Ravens jersey. Get yours today while supplies last. You can order yours just in time for football season. Go to chatsports.com/Ravens jersey to get yours now while supplies last. All right, stock down. Let's look at those guys and three names in particular. Wide receiver Devin Duvernay, cornerback Kyle Fuller, and outside linebacker Daelin Hayes are names of those that their stock has fallen off a little bit the last couple of days. Let's start out with the report from The Athletic on Duvernay. Duvernay suffered a thigh contusion when he collided with Clark, that's Chuck Clark, by the way, while trying to catch a deep pass back on July 29th. And he missed nearly a full week of practice as a result of that. He returned Saturday, but participated only in individual drills. This isn't anything he did wrong. It's more about he's missing. And to elaborate on that, with him not being there, it's giving other guys an opportunity essentially to step up without his presence there with the injury that he suffered. Let's move on to cornerback Kyle Fuller, who the Ravens signed this past offseason. He's had his issues staying with the Ravens receivers, and he's particularly struggled in the one-on-one periods. His play early in camp would be easier to overlook if he hadn't struggled last year in Denver getting benched at one point. And we know that the Ravens have a great secondary, but trying to find that role for Kyle Fuller is going to be interesting because is he a nickel or is he going to back up the outside? That remains to be determined. Kyle Fuller seems like a good signing that he didn't cost you a whole lot, but if he's struggling in camp and you don't necessarily know where he fits, that could be a problem. So something to keep an eye on there. One more for you. This is on Daelin Hayes, the outside linebacker. He's flashed on occasion, and he plays with a high level of energy and effort. That he's healthy, again, is a plus. Yet Hayes hasn't shown as much pass rushing juice as we saw last summer when he was a regular in the backfield. So, hopefully, one of these guys can turn things around and maybe break out the rest of training camp. Now, I want to hear from you guys, whether it's one of these guys that's going to turn a corner and potentially break out, or maybe somebody we haven't mentioned on today's show. Let me know in the comments section a breakout player for the Ravens in 2022. Who comes to mind of who could really step up and be a breakout performer this upcoming season? Let me know in the comments section. We'll leave it to you. You tell me, name a breakout player for the Ravens this year. This show is one of many shows that we do throughout the week here on Ravens Rundown as we're covering this team like no one else is. Every angle, all throughout training camp. We're counting you down to kickoff and the start of the preseason. This Thursday, folks, when the Ravens take on the Titans, we'll be covering it. We'll have post-game coverage as well right here on the channel. So you got to be subscribed at youtube.com/RavensTV so you stay up to date what's going on with your team. Turn on those notifications as well so you're the first to see all the latest happenings with your Baltimore Ravens. It's the Ravens Rundown by Chat Sports. youtube.com/RavensTV. Turn notifications on as well so you never miss a moment. My final takeaway from Ravens training camp so far is don't sleep on Chuck Clark. And I think that a lot of us may have been quick to dismiss Chuck Clark when the Ravens brought in Marcus Williams and when they drafted Kyle Hamilton. It seemed like that Chuck Clark's days could be done. And there was a lot of talk over the last couple of months about the Ravens potentially trading off Chuck Clark and trying to get some value of him. But then with this injury that Kyle Hamilton suffered this week. Now, he's okay, but it was a quick reminder, okay, maybe hold the phone on moving on from Chuck Clark just yet. And we've also seen Chuck Clark play fairly well in training camp. Here's the latest from BaltimoreRavens.com. As Kyle Hamilton had pundits drooling during OTAs in minicamp, but it's been Chuck Clark still leading the Ravens secondary at training camp. Clark has been around the ball a lot, clearly displaying his understanding of the game and Baltimore's scheme as Hamilton and free agent addition Marcus Williams continue to adjust. Now, the player profile on Chuck Clark, if you recall, he started 16 games in 2021, started in all but one game last year. Every game that he appeared, he started in. And he signed a 3-year contract extension. You go back to February 10th of 2020, and you can see he's still on that right now. And a little quick note, too. I thought that was interesting on Chuck Clark, in case you didn't know. Big blueberry guy. Maybe we ought to start calling him Blueberry. He loves himself some blueberry pancakes and blueberry donuts. Those are his favorite foods. Now, personally, me, I don't mind blueberry pancakes or blueberry donuts. Not my first choice, but I'm not going to hate the guy for it. Much respect to Chuck Clark for what he's done through training camp so far. So, true-false question today. Chuck Clark, does he start week 1 for the Baltimore Ravens? We say he does start for the Ravens week 1. What say you? Do you agree with that statement? Type T for true. If you do not, type F for false. Let me know. Chuck Clark starts week 1 for Baltimore. Type T for true. Type F for false. So, to recap, here are our takeaways through training camp so far, through a week and a half. It's been very fascinating so far to this point. We will keep you up to date with what's going on with your team. We'll have the latest on this week's preseason game as well on Thursday night. We'll have post-game coverage. Do not miss out on that. Subscribe to the channel. Give me a follow on Twitter as well at Tyler Jones Live, and we'll see you next time here on the Ravens Rundown.